Hello, I'm Shawn Fada Hightower, and I'm really pleased to have with me today Janet Siddiqui, who is running for Board of Education. And Janet, I want to thank you for taking time to sit down and chat with me and give all of us a little bit of an opportunity to learn a little bit more about who you are and why you're running. So I'm going to start off with what I'm hoping is one of our easier questions, and that is, what is the most important issue to you personally?
Well, thank you for giving us this opportunity to voice our issues. One of the most important things, since I've been a resident of Howard County for the past 30 years and all my children have gone through the system, as I reflect back and over the past 5 years that I've been on the board, I think the most important thing to me is that each child has the opportunity to have academic success at the maximum level, and that the Board of Education is there to make sure that they have that academic success. Throughout my campaigns over the years, my focus has really been on the whole child, and that's the cognitive, the social, the physical, and the emotional components of the whole child. And I think if we look at each of those categories individually, I think you'll find that everything will come together for that student and have that individual academic success. If you look at take cognitive, for example, make sure that we have the best educational curriculum in place for the 21st century learner. And also to have the best leadership in the schools to deliver that curriculum, the principal and the most outstanding teachers that we have in Howard County. Also looking at assessments with new curriculum that's coming forward, having assessments that are value-based and that give us feedback for the teachers and for the students. And then also having the technology in place, because our students are different learners these days, the 21st century learner. And they're using technology differently than we do. And so we have to have the tools and technology in place and have the professional development to move forward. If you look at the social, and social is that link between the home, the community, and the school. And making sure that that the parents are involved, parental involvement, making sure the school is a welcoming environment, that there's good peer relationships, and looking at the cultural differences and having the professional development in place for cultural proficiency for our staff and for our teachers, and really bringing those links together and looking at different programs that we can do after school programs that foster not only relationships between students, peer relationships, having youth that are cultural brokers that work together to help new students adjust. Because we have, I think, up to close to 80 now, different languages and different cultures and countries that are in our school system. So these are opportunities for our students to bring each other up to the next level. Physical. And that is the physical education component, nutrition, and looking at ways where we can integrate those. And it's also the environment, making sure that we have a healthy environment in our schools with all the latest green technologies, increasing physical activity when we can, increasing classwork, class time in physical education. Also the nutrition, looking at the nutrition in the schools. And then also there's the emotional component. And a lot of that ties back to the other three, making sure that looking at all the social media and how that impacts the student, and having programs in place for parents to help deal with that, and any other psychological issues that the student has to deal with, because all those will tie back to the success of the students. So I think as we look at the whole child, I think all those components will come together, and that's what I'm looking for, that each individual student has the opportunity from kindergarten through high school and graduation to have the maximum potential that they can.
So I really want to thank you for taking the opportunity to share what issues were important to you. What I'm really interested in finding out are what have you perceived are the most important issues for parents and the community?
Well, being a Howard County resident for over or close to 30 years, I've been here. I've been involved with PTAs. I've been involved with the community. I've seen the issues. I think one of the most important things these days is parents want their students to have a world-class education. They're a 21st century learner and very different in the way they're learning today and the technology that's available, and we have to make sure that we have those resources in place, that we have the technology in place, that we have the professional development in place for our teachers to teach these students. The other important component is being fiscally responsible to the parents of Howard County as well as the taxpayers of Howard County. With over 50% of our budget going to education, it's very important that people in the county select a Board of Education member that is well-rounded, that looks at the needs of the students as well as being fiscally responsible. There's many things that parents want for their children these days. Our students have so many more opportunities worldwide than we did when we were children. So many resources through the internet. So they're looking for world languages and more world languages opportunities. They're looking for, again, the technology and making sure that they have those sorts of resources in place. And they're also looking for direction in terms of how to, parents are looking not only for that academic success, but for that social success in terms of how do parents deal with the social media and what's going on with their child. And while our focus is in curriculum and academic success, we want to make sure that we provide some of those other links, again, to the home community and the school to address those sorts of issues.
A couple other things I'd like to throw out, because I know you have a background as a pediatrician, and in doing a little research on you, I understand that one of the areas you have been interested in is health and wellness. And I also know that health and wellness is an issue for many parents. I'd love to hear any thoughts you have about that.
Well, our research has shown that to be ready to learn, kids have to be physically ready to learn as well. Addressing physical education in the classroom. If we can't increase the class time, then we need to try and integrate it other ways. And also looking at the whole child in terms of how the child learns, and also arts integration. And arts integration can be physical education in terms of dance, and trying to, at least at the elementary school, trying to integrate that into the classroom so that the child has the opportunity to really shine, and having the professional development also in place to make sure that teachers can identify and look at the student and identify what their quality is and how they can really bring that child out, whether it's through the arts or through the sciences or through math. But yeah, definitely making sure health and wellness, that we have the best nutrition in our schools, and that we're giving the child every opportunity for physical education, because then they'll be ready. And that also decreases the amount of behavioral issues in the classroom if students are, if they're nutritionally sound, if they're physically fit, sound, and they'll have more academic success and less behavioral issues in the classroom.
The last thing I might ask you as well, again, just referencing information I saw on your campaign site, you talked about an ombudsman and the importance of having an ombudsman in the school system. Can you share a little bit of information about that role that's currently in place in HCPSS?
The ombudsman is a sort of a neutral role in terms that they can act as a conduit between themselves and the school system, and sometimes it's as simple as, how do I reach, what should I do in this situation? or what are my next steps? And it's really a person that sort of helps parents go through the system, because initially it can be very, very overwhelming. So the ombudsman is there to sort of help parents, rather than coming to the board directly, guide them. And most are very simple cases, and things are worked out quickly.
Let me ask you my final question, and this I think is very, very important for people to understand. What do you think the role of the member of the Board of Education is? This will give us a sense of how you would see yourself operating in that role and help people understand you a little bit better.
Well, a Board of Education member is elected, and they run county-wide. So I feel a responsibility to the entire county, not just the community I live in, the entire county, every school that's from east to west and north to south. It's a big responsibility, and it's difficult and challenging sometimes to get to every school. But the board has clusters. The other responsibility is for being fiscally responsive to the taxpayers. I think that's very important in making sure that we make the right decisions. The board in itself, we can't act as individuals. We have to act collectively as a majority of the board to take any action. Our responsibilities mostly are for implementing, going by the bylaws of the State Board of Education, in implementing curriculum and policy. Policy is probably one of our biggest areas where we can make a difference in the school system. Also, working collaboratively with the superintendent is one of our responsibilities as we implement those policies and curriculum. I want to make sure that I'm always available. If anyone wants to talk with me, either they can get me by email or by phone or through the board office, so that we're responsive to citizens' concerns, and then take those concerns back to people in the office of the school system and see if it's just a miscommunication, or if this is something that needs to be brought forward to the full board for consideration, and look at things that way. The role of the board member, there should have leadership. I think people are looking for people that are leaders in the community, people that are educated, that are knowledgeable. My experience as a pediatrician for the past 20 years and being a resident of the Howard for close to 30 years, I have that background as a pediatrician, that I understand birth to 21. And so I understand the child development, I understand the special education needs of the students, and I think I feel like that I bring that balance as a board member. We'd like to see each area of the community representative of the county, but we need to make sure that everybody comes together and works collaboratively, because there's many issues coming forward in the school system at all different levels, and making sure that we have everything in place for that 21st century learner.
Let me ask you a question. I'm curious, because you are a current member of the board, and you've been a member actually for quite some time. What was the motivator for you to decide to run again?
Oh, I enjoy it. I enjoy the outcomes, seeing the students, watching them as they grow. Just in my practice, as I see children grow and develop, we're watching these students go through and become successful. It's been my passion. It's been part of my life, and just being there and making sure that the right decisions are made for our children. And I feel like I'm an advocate for children, and making sure that that they have the best opportunities that they can to be successful in their lives. And it's a big, they spend 6 hours a day 5 days a week in our school system. I want to make sure that they have the right environment and the right tools that they need to be successful.
Perfect. Well, I really just want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time to share a little bit of you with all of us. And I also want to wish you well as you go through the remainder of the election season. And if there's anything else you wanted to add, feel free to tell us.
I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for giving us this opportunity, another venue to reach the people of Howard County for their vote. November 6th, and there's also early voting, and you can reach me at www.janetsiddiqui.com.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.